All right, so here is a problem. Here are problems 13 and 14. We're now moving on to page 3. And just like I said from the quiz, there will be some sort of word problem on the test that we'll have to figure out. And the best thing to do is to draw a picture. Draw a picture. There's no better way to do these than to draw a picture. So here we have our boy Jared. Pretty normal boy. And he's standing 12 feet from a rock wall. So we have kind of like this rock face. And when he looks up to see his friend ascending the wall, so here's his buddy climbing up the wall, the angle of elevation is 56 degrees. So I want you to see that actually this is the best case we can have to explain angle of elevation, because Jared here is raising his head or raising his eyes. He's elevating his gaze. He's looking up. And so this angle here at the base from the ground looking up, that's our angle of elevation. Right? So in other words, it's looking up. That angle of elevation is looking up. And they want to know how high up the wall is his friend. So in other words, this is our x on the opposite side. All right, so once we see this, it's pretty simple. We could even redraw this as a separate triangle, right? So here's his angle of elevation, 56 degrees, and he's 12 feet away. And then they want to know how high. Right? So if we circle our angle, we find our hypotenuse. And then from our angle, x is the opposite and 12 is the adjacent. So we're using opposite and adjacent. We're going to use TOA. So we do tangent of the angle, 56, equals the opposite, x, over the adjacent, 12. Then we just times by 12 on both sides. And we get 12 times tangent of 56 equals x. Well, now that x is alone, we can plug that into our calculator. 12 times the tangent of 56. And now they want us to round to the nearest foot, notice. Foot is the ones place, so that's going to be 17.7, which rounds up to 18. So 18 feet is our answer because we have those units feet. Now if we look at the next problem, we have our girl Maria. So Maria, here's Maria, she's looking out of a 17-foot high window. So she's up here in this building. I'll just draw a quick little, maybe an apartment building, and she's looking out of this window here, looking out the window, and the window is 17 feet high. That means that she's 17 feet above the ground. The angle of depression, well, depression is down, remember? So she's looking down to this deer, so our angle of depression is up here, going down, right? The angle of depression, or looking down, is 26 degrees. So what's the horizontal distance? Oh, over here, here's our deer, by the way. It's probably the best deer you'll ever see. Besides ones in real life. There's the deer. What's the horizontal distance from Maria to the deer? So what's this down here, this x? Well, if we redrew this as a triangle, right? So we have our right triangle. We would have our angle of depression, 26 up here. We would have x down here was the horizontal distance. And then 17 on this side is how high she is off the ground, right? So again, we have opposite and we have adjacent. Opposite and adjacent. So we're going to use TOA. So the tangent of 26, right? Here's our angle. Tangent of 26 is opposite, or x, over adjacent, or 17. So now we're just going to times by 17 on both sides because it's in the denominator. So 17 times the tangent of 26 equals x. Now that we have x alone, we're just going to plug it right into our calculator. So 17 times the tangent of 26 is 8.29. And again, they want us to round it to the nearest foot. So since 2 is less than 5, the 8 stays the same. So 8 feet equals x.